So apparently we have 2 Snow White movies coming out, and I don't know much about it, so we're going to get the critical drinker to tell us about it. So, here
One
we
of the
go.
simplest rules of business is that if you don't give your customers what they want, then sooner or later someone else will. And that, my friend, is when you go out of business. Such is the case with Snow White and the 7 diverse, non-specific, vertically challenged creatures. A movie that somehow managed to combine all the worst aspects of modern movie making with an actress who embodies all the worst aspects of modern actors.
Weird. It's no longer 1937.
All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
Yeah, like it's terrible. Terrible press tour, terrible talking points. That I don't care what side you're on, that is not the way to get people to like you.
And believe me, that's saying something.
Nobody had ever put a woman in the lead of an action movie.
What?
In short, it was giving fans of the classic fairy tale, or even the 1937 animated movie, the exact opposite of what they wanted. And the result has been an audience backlash on a scale never before seen. Even The Little Mermaid never came close to the thermonuclear level of hatred that engulfed Snow White. But, like I say, for every failing company that's too stupid or too arrogant to give their customers what they actually want, there's another up-and-coming hopeful waiting to swoop in and take the crown. And in this case, it's the Daily Wire, a conservative media outlet that started dabbling in film and TV production over the past couple of years. And while they haven't exactly rocked the world of entertainment to its core, movies like Run, Hide, Fight and Shuts In proved that they can make relatively decent films on a fraction of the cost of Hollywood's. And the other day, they dropped their first teaser trailer for Snow White and the Evil Queen, something that I honestly thought was a piss take at first. But nope, it's a legit movie that's actually getting made and released next year under their kids production company Bentkey, starring Brett Cooper as Snow White, which confused the hell out of me because I always assumed that Brett Cooper was a man. And damn man, right off the bat you can tell they're happily taking pot shots at Disney with this one. The reveal of Cooper as Snow White is left until the final seconds of the teaser, and it's played with such a triumphant flourish that it might as well be accompanied by the caption, "See, this is how it's supposed to be done." I mean, clearly the whole thing was slapped together pretty quickly to take advantage of the momentum around Snow White, probably on a small budget, so it looks more like a skit from SNL than a major Hollywood movie. Then again, based on the pictures we've seen from the set, the Disney version doesn't exactly justify its $200 million price tag either, so who the hell knows? You can tell that they've gone out of their way not to put a modern spin on the classic story, not to subvert the audience's expectations, and not to use the movie as an excuse to insert 21st century Californian ideology into a story written hundreds of years ago. And whether or not you agree with that idea, one thing you can't deny is that there's definitely a market for films like this. A growing market that's become increasingly alienated from modern entertainment and want nothing more complicated than to forget their troubles and lose themselves in a bit of escapism for an hour.
Exactly. Like, the more you push people away. Like, standing on your pedestal and your self-righteous podium, talking down to people, just pushes them away. Like, you're gonna lose. Eventually, enough people are gonna get sick of you and wake up and realize that you actually don't know what you're talking about, and you will lose. You know, like, if you're an author or a writer, it's like you have a responsibility to listen to your audience and not be a prick and not talk down to them and belittle them. If you want to educate them, if you want to share a bold, controversial idea, it's your job as a writer to entertain them and challenge them at the same time. You can't just, throw entertainment out the window. Let me just finger wag at you guys and tell you what to think. Like, no.
Hour or two. Not much to ask, really, but it's something that Hollywood's been increasingly reluctant to give. You know, it's actually a pretty damning indictment of where we are as a culture that a movie that dares to just tell a conventionally heroic story that's faithful to the source material is now considered some crazy revolutionary outlier, but there you go. Yeah. Truly, we live in clown worlds. The same principle of being humble and respectful to the source material even filters through to the main actress when she was speaking about her role. Quote, "I was raised on on the original Grimm's fairy tales, so I'm thrilled that we're bringing this iconic story to life for the next generation. Snow White is such a beautiful character, and I'm honoured to be playing her. Like
See,
all the
that's
best
what you
fairy
do.
tales, this is a story with timeless values like love, friendship, and kindness, and I can't wait to share them. Now,
That's a
do me a
huge
favour and
contrast.
compare this for a moment to Rachel Zegler's interpretation of the character and her attitude to the original animated movie.
The cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated. We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
There's a big focus on her love story. With a guy who literally stalks her. Women being in roles of power.
Bit of a difference there, isn't there? Tell me, which actress do you find yourself rooting for more? Now, ultimately, I've got no idea at this stage whether Snow White and the Evil Queen will be any good or not. It could just as easily turn out to be a steaming pile of dog shit, no matter the good intentions behind it. The difference, though, is that unlike the Disney version, I actually want this one to succeed, partly because I think it's being made with exactly the kind of attitude that's sorely lacking in Hollywood today, and partly because the anarchist in me wants to see the absolute meltdown that'll engulf the mainstream media if this film somehow outperforms Disney's excretion. I mean, let's be honest, it totally isn't going to, but it's funny to think about all the same. It really feels like a classic case of a scrappy underdog taking on a bigger, overconfident opponent. Either way, the simple existence of this movie and the attention it's getting proves the point that I made at the start, that if you go long enough without giving your customer what they want, then eventually someone else is going to step in and do it for you. They might not succeed immediately, but the simple fact that they tried it will inevitably encourage others to do the same. And well, sooner or later you might just find that those customers you took for granted have taken their business elsewhere. And at the end of the day, you've got no one to blame but yourself.
It's Hollywood, baby.
Anyway,
I feel inspired, so guess what? I'm gonna make a Snow White movie. There, I said it. It might take me a couple years, but I'm gonna make a Snow White movie. You think I'm joking? I'm not. I'm not joking. One of my dreams in life is to make an anime. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to make a futuristic cyberpunk of the original Snow White story. I'm going to go right to the source material, you know, the Grimm's fairy tales, and I'm going to throw it into the future and make a cyberpunk interpretation of all of them. So subscribe for that because that'll be fun. This channel is kind of like documenting my journey to becoming an animation artist. So subscribe and we'll see where it goes. And yeah, I'm going to react to the two teasers, so you can check that out right here in a second. And I will see you guys over there. Goodbye.